Hello everyone, and welcome to the final guide of hot tips on what Homestuck does not, and why. Let's start by elaborating on my previous points. One thing that definitely made Homestuck popular was the fandom. I've implied this before but never been specific. All those elements of character templates and world building help foster the fandom. The fandom in turn helps foster the fandom more. It's sort of like nuclear fission. Except when there's a meltdown all you have to worry about is grey paint in the pool filters. Unfortunately deaths in Homestuck only got trivialized more since my last video. When I watched Game Over for the first time and saw Karkat die, I automatically didn't care because I knew he didn't really die, and sure enough he didn't. Homestuck's theme of many alternate selves continued to be unsatisfying, and while some people disagree, fuck those people. Speaking of alternate selves, I previously said that the retcon was pretty neat. However, the erasure of 3 years of story only to be replaced with a montage wasn't a great choice, to put it lightly. It's also one of the more extreme cases of power creep in the comic. Now for a point I missed originally. Update speed. I started reading Homestuck late 2010 and saw the insane update speed Homestuck was once famed for. This absolutely contributed to the popularity of the comic to the point where I feel stupid for missing it. Take note, however, if you want to do something similar, you need one thing, and that's a lot of time. And to have a lot of time, you also need either someone's basement to live in, or a lot of money, because there's no way you can achieve that sort of pace and maintain a job, or your sanity. Originally, I was going to have a whole section of this video about the Homestuck Kickstarter game, but then I remembered it was just a side project, so I'll keep it brief with this pop quiz. Question: is it a good idea to kickstart a video game whilst you're in the middle of making a webcomic, and you have no video game industry experience whatsoever? Answer: bear with me, my mouse is low on batteries. Hope this clears things up. Homestuck uses a lot of assets throughout the comic, though some are of dubious legality. Sprites, fonts, and photos cross the spectrum from it's a reference to okay no you literally traced this, come on. Some incredibly infringing things are no longer in the comic, such as the Easter egg in Dave's beat mixer that played the Ghostbusters theme. I don't have a problem with this, but I mean look at this video. I sure as hell wouldn't get very far if I had to make all my assets from scratch. Luckily for Homestuck, no one takes webcomics seriously, so you can get away with a lot more usage of third-party assets, but that may not always be the case. Ironically, What Pumpkin was once incredibly aggressive with defending its copyright, to the point where they implied only they should be allowed to sell shirts with colored astrology symbols on them. This isn't specifically Hussey that held such a massive double standard, but it's still his company. My point is, while Hussey may not have personally ordered this, he didn't do much to stop it, bringing me to a very unusual point. It's time we talk about deification. Many people see flaws in Homestuck, but when deciding whose fault it is, they often avoid blaming him. They may blame his friends, or family, or maybe even split off Hussey in their mind completely, thinking of the Hussey that made poor choices as a separate entity. Such an attitude from fans can be convenient. There have been many times where certain abrupt twists and plot holes are considered classic Hussey, instead of being seen as weakening the story. I'll let Mr. T explain.
Oh, hi there. I'm Dr. T. Have you ever been embarrassed, ashamed, or exposed? I mean, done something so absolutely ludicrous that you wish you could have moved to a deserted island and hide your head in the sand? I mean, check this out. Now, how can that little brother recoup? Let's run that again. Is that recouping or is that recouping?
Thanks, Mr. T. Anyway, despite the obvious boons of this attitude, I don't think it's worth it, considering Hussey shut himself off almost entirely from his fan base even though Homestuck was once community driven at its core. So instead I'll give some handy advice if you want to stop this happening to you. I think the ideal solution is to not self-insert into your own story this many times.
Oh, I'm the cult of personality. I'm the cult of, 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 I'm the cult of personality.
As a general rule, if there's enough inserts of yourself to hit every beat of the finale of Cult of Personality, you probably added too many. Constant praise can be poison for an artist, and whilst the usual solution is for the artist to maintain a certain level of self-criticism, that mindset becomes especially hard to maintain in a story that's community driven. That's enough of that. Let's talk about characters. Iradia was a character. She did that whole thing where she became alive again and concluded her character arc. Unfortunately for Iradia, there was still several years of comic left to go, thanks in part to the bloated cast. Homestuck has way too many fucking characters, that's all I have to say. One other thing that's absolutely required for Homestuck is the music team. Don't get me wrong, a lot of the art team has done great work, but strictly speaking they weren't needed. There are flashes that used no external art, but music necessitated a music team. I can't count the number of people that got hooked into Homestuck because they reached this page and heard this. Imagine if they heard this instead. See the problem? Speaking of external work, Homestuck also had a programmer for most of the interactive segments. No one ever remembers this guy. It's kind of bullshit really. Of course, other artists may be good at art, music and programming, and can truly make something on the scale of Homestuck by themselves. Here's one last thing I noticed. Look at this text. This is Rose's dialogue. Here's some more. This time it's Dave's. And here's some more. Now it's Karkat. Except it's actually Caliborn. I just changed the color. The fact that characters have colored text with quirks is probably the only reason so many characters is even sort of manageable, but it also has the effect of differentiating characters without even having strongly distinct character voices. I could go on, but really, that's enough of that. It's time for a segment I'm personally looking forward to. The Fandom Excellence Awards. The fan base has done a lot of things over the years, so consider this a best of show. I'll be giving awards to what I feel is the best of its category, but I'll also be naming the awards after people or projects, either because they were the best at the time, infamous, or maybe I'm just too nostalgic for my own good. First up we have the Skeptic Archer Award for Best Fan Art. This is a pretty competitive category. There's probably more fan art than any other type of fan work. But I'll have to go with this piece, because I mean just look at it. Good job on drawing good. Next up is the Von Fawn Award for Best Cosplay. I'll avoid picking cosplays that are heavily photoshopped, or ones that I only like because they're hot as fuck. Despite those rules, there's some strong competition here too. But I'll have to go with an unconventional pick. I know what you're thinking. Why the hell did I pick this? Well, there's a lot of cosplays who get just the right wig and just the right makeup, and the shirts are colored perfectly because they didn't buy the official ones. But here we have a Rose cosplayer actually playing Agrieve on a violin, whilst it's actually storming outside. This award is mostly symbolic though. If you're a Rose cosplayer who plays violin, a Jade who plays bass, a John playing piano, the Midnight Crew filling people with midnight, or any other character with a sort of performance aspect to it, you won this award. Great job. Next we have the Tindek Award for Best Voice Acting. If that last sentence made you cringe, it was supposed to. Unfortunately, even though I'm making this award, my tolerance for fan voices isn't what it used to be, and the voice actors seem to share that sentiment. The one I was going to give the award to deleted all his stuff. I'd feel bad about not awarding anyone though, so I'll just go with UHH. This Caliborn I found.
Let's talk about it together. Share some theories. Do some fangirling. Produce some fan
I have absolutely no metric for how good voice acting is, but this seems good. What I have instead is a list of some of my own headcanon voices. Let's have a listen.
So you want to be a DJ? It's going to take an awful lot of practice.
Just not happy with your decision, yeah. I am the cream in the World Wrestling Federation.
Any more obvious? He was.
It's me, Austin! It's me, Austin!
Time for another award I have some real knowledge of, the Trollfire Award for Best Fan Music. Let's listen to the nominees. All good in their own way, but I'm going to go with this one. There's something about it that feels special to me. Now it's time for the Megiddo-chan Award for Best Community. I've been around a long time and seen pretty much every substantial Homestuck community. Fassa Punch is the obvious choice, but my vote will always go to MSPA-chan. You just had to be there. Now for the Blast Off Musk Award for Best Fanfic. Don't worry if you don't get the title. I doubt anyone will. This is a bit special because I know a guy who used to be really into fanfics, and he spoke highly of Flotsam, and introduced me to Hot Blooded. Originally I was going to take his word for it and pick one of these, but really, we live in a world where the Spurb glitch frequently asked questions exists. This is the most elaborately constructed fanfic I've ever seen. The fact it exists is frankly impressive. Moving swiftly on, we have the Prequel Award for Best Fan Adventure. To help narrow it down, I'm not picking unfinished adventures. This is another category I don't have broad knowledge of, but I have to pick a beginner's guide to the end of the universe. It's not even Homestuck related, but hey, my award show. In fact, since it's my award show, I'm still going to point out that Prequel has some of the most creative examples of messing with the page formatting in a story I've ever seen. I can't wait for 2030 when it's finished. Now let's have the Nepeta Quest Award for Best Fun Game. This is a thin matchup. There aren't many games compared to Art or Fix, but at the same time the pick for this one is obvious. The award goes to the Overseer Project for actually trying to make Spurb a regular game, despite all the design problems that entails. Great job, guys. Next up we have the Conair Award for Best Video. This is another big category. A lot of good videos of different types, but again, this is an award where the choice is painfully obvious to me. The award goes to the Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff Moive, a video which, almost no one will appreciate to the fullest. I have more experience with making things shitty on purpose than most people, and it's probably because of this experience that I can see the nuance and fine craft that went into this video. You probably think I'm being sarcastic, but I'm deadly serious. This video is a mastercraft, 100% deserved. Can't wait to have grandkids so I can show them that video. Finally, we have the General Contributions Award. The gist of this one is there are some people in the fandom that stuck out to me. We have Red Pen, nominated for being a jack of all trades, Captain Nameless, for his obscene number of nepotus, and Mozai, for preserving old fan content that would otherwise be gone forever. Anyone who knows me knows I'm picking Mozai. Archival is something I feel very strongly about. Even during these awards I came across many times where something I wanted to show no longer existed, though I can't blame the voice actors. If you see something online that's worth saving, save it, because not only will you save it, you might also save it, if that makes sense. That about covers the full spectrum of fan works, besides all the porn. But I can't do porn awards without using some sort of vague symbolism. Actually, that sounds like a great idea, let's do that. The winner of the porn category is... That's that sorted. All that's left is to tell you all about the Fassa Punch community. Once upon a time, on Christmas Eve, I uploaded a video called Demon V, a video which shoehorned in as many cameos of Fassa Punch MSPA readers as I could manage. The video was a huge circle jerk, but that's not what matters. The reason I brought it up is because of the credits. Every year since its original 2011 upload, I would put a twist on it, re-upload it, and watch the original. It was a sort of Christmas tradition for a little while. But every year, I see this list of names of all the people who used to be around, and I couldn't ignore how few of those names I saw anymore. I guess I wasn't supposed to notice how many people lost interest, but because of that credits screen, I always did. I did another take on the video in 2015, and I think that'll be the last one. There's no piece of media easier to consume than a webcomic, so then why did so many people leave? The only reason that makes sense is that it just got worse. I kept reading partly out of stubbornness, and because I promised people I'd make this video. Homestuck has a sort of revolving door fan base, even with all those people leaving. A younger generation replaced them, but that new generation won't ever really understand how good things used to be. Let me pull out one last example. This is Ruby Quest, an adventure format similar to MSPA, but look at how it's laid out. It has all the theories and questions, all the suggestions that never got in. It's as close as anyone could get to actually being there when it was written. New Homestuck readers don't have that, but if they get the chance to experience something similar, I won't be around to see it. Anyway, that's enough of me shaking my proverbial Zimmer frame at those damn kids. Let's just say, I've given everything I can.